Aspergillus Amalgam reported by Dr. Cooper Philip, December 29, 2000. The United States has declared a state of emergency and extremely large uptick in deaths due to complications that have to do with fungus, and toxoplasmosis has been recognized by mycologists nationally, predominantly in the Midwest, but also in a handful of eastern states. Widespread alarm is gripping the public.
Most, if not all, patients have a form of Aspergillus growing in the lungs and nasal cavity, with a patch of it growing up through the throat connecting the two. Patients report foul smell followed by trouble breathing, wheezing, and chest pain, followed by a period of unresponsiveness to all stimuli, and then death. Some patients displayed autoresuscitation, followed by seizures and repeated and extremely high rates of accidental blunt force trauma to the skull during the thrashing.
Postmortem, the skin becomes very dry. The Aspergillus forms around the mouth and nose, which appears as a black thin layer of mold with smaller roots stretching through the greater masses of mold found within the lungs 4-8 hours after death. Even when the body is preserved in the morgue, the Aspergillus continues to spread. It becomes a large matted mass of mycelium in the lungs, and the throat has been completely carpeted in the mycelium, predominantly around areas where the spinal cord is closer. Oftentimes the skull has fractured due to the seizure suffered shortly before death, and the fungus spreads to the brain, often taking to the brain stem first and spreading inwards through the brain and downwards through the spine. Patients who did not suffer any fractures in the skull saw significantly less fungus growth, and eventually the Aspergillus dies. There have been reports of the mold growing even before the patient dies, and is described as feeling almost calming and urges the patient to relieve themselves. The mold is being closely examined, and a national quarantine has begun, with nobody coming in or leaving the country. Border security is tightened, and hospitals are kept under extremely high standards of safety. There have been no reports of the mold outside of the U.S.A, and the risks of transporting the mold outside of the country is too great. Researchers are working overtime on possible ways to destroy the fungus. It is airborne, but it also withstands water, and antibiotics can stop the seizures and other effects of the toxoplasmosis, but the fungus is extremely difficult to get rid of once it has taken a host, as it burrows deep within the lungs of the victims. Some reports state that it is a multitude of molds working in tandem with some sort of way to actually produce bacteria using the aminos found inside of the human body. The mycelium appears to react to light, with the host taking antibiotics and being kept barely alive, both reacting to signals sent through the mycelium and sending stimuli out to the mycelium, causing it to release an acid of sorts when the brain begins shutting down without a seizure, which destroys much of the mycelium and actually prevents research from being thoroughly done. Many suggest this is a man-made weapon originating from China. January 2001. The U.S. has declared that the infected be executed, and the bodies that